Meanwhile, though, Jason and Ezra start working it out. And by mid-March, they're talking about getting back together for good. They're going to go to couples counseling. They're going to work it out. Then everything took a turn for the worst.
Hey guys, Rebecca here.
Rachel here. Hi.
We are so excited today. As we announced a few weeks ago, we are with the hosts of Women in Crime today. We are going to be telling the story of Ezra McCandless. And unlike us, they are professionals. They are criminologists. And so they will probably be giving more of a professional opinion than we pretend to give.
But you tell the story better than we ever could. So
that's so
that.
nice.
It's so nice.
Yeah, we pretend to be the experts. They actually are the experts. And we're going to break it down by, I'm going to tell the story. This is Rachel. Hey. And get into the events of this case. And then their expertise is going to be very interesting during trial. It's a doozy of a story.
Here's the thing. I don't know much about it. I only know the one thing, which I'm so excited about.
I love that. So she knows a little bit. She doesn't know the ins and outs. So, I'm excited to tell you all about it.
Hi, People Are the Worst listeners. Meghan and Amy here from Women in Crime. On Women in Crime, every week we break down a new case involving a female. Whether it's a victim or offender, oftentimes these two are one and the same. We'll not only tell you the story of what happened, but we'll break down the science behind why it happened and whether or not the criminal justice system got it right. So thanks for joining us and thanks for listening today.
Nice.
Awesome.
Without further ado, okay, so my sources were court documents, Court TV, CBS News, WBAY.com, KARE 11 News, and that's it. Felt like there was more, but no. On March 22nd, 2018, around 4:15 p.m., an 89-year-old dairy farmer named Don Sipple was just about to sit down for dinner at his home in Springbrook, Wisconsin, when someone started pounding on his front door. Don answered it and was met with something horrifying. There was a very distressed young woman. She was shaking and covered in mud, bruises, cuts, and blood. Her clothes were torn and she had no shoes on, a terrifying sight for this sweet old farmer.
Yeah.
She tells Don she doesn't remember anything except being attacked, which was very clear. So Don brings her inside and immediately calls 911. Within minutes, EMTs, a police officer, and a state trooper get to Don's house and put her in the ambulance. On the way to the hospital, they ask her what happened, but she's sobbing. She can't remember anything. She just kept saying that she got them off of her. So they're like,
shit.
Them?
Yeah.
It's one man? Is it multiple men? She said she doesn't know. She couldn't remember anything, which we know trauma can very much impact memory.
Uh-huh. Wait, what year is this? Sorry.
This is 2018.
Okay.
They get to the hospital and doctors find stab wounds on her thighs, arms, and on her hands, which look to be defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And most bizarre, someone had carved the word boy into her left arm. They're like, what
boy?
The hell? Boy. B-O-Y.
Okay.
They learned that this young woman is 19-year-old Ezra McCandless. And over the next few days, they're working with her to try to recover what happened. And as her memory comes back, we learn the most insane, bizarre story. But first, a little background.
Mm-hmm.
Ezra McCandless was born on October 6, 1997 in Stanley, Wisconsin. Her mom, Rosalina, was only 14 years old when she had her.
Oh, my God.
I know. And her biological father was never in the picture.
Oh.
But when Ezra was around 4 years old, her mom married a man named Joe Carlin, who was a correctional officer, and Joe legally adopted Ezra. So she's always known him to be, that's her dad.
Yeah.
Her childhood didn't sound great. Her mom and dad were both very strong-willed, so they argued with each other a lot. Money was tight, so Rosalina, her mom, worked all the time, so Ezra had to fend for herself a lot.
Yeah. Oh.
When Joe would discipline Ezra, he did so with a lot of name calling.
Oh,
I know.
No, thank you.
He called her stupid. He said she wouldn't amount to anything, things like that. Being a kid, she would start to cry, but he didn't find crying acceptable. So he would say things like, I'll give you something to cry about.
Screw you, stepdad.
Well, it's a real no. Well, not
Oh, wait, I'm
biological,
sorry.
but he adopted her. But yes.
All right. Screw you, dad.
Right. So
Fine.
he
Whatever.
never physically abused her, but she said she was for sure emotionally abused.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
When she was 12 years old.
This is
Oh, sorry.
not set. Sorry, I just want to say this is not setting the stage for, healthy development. Let's say going forward.
Right. Name calling her stupid. That is.
Can you
horrifying.
imagine?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
Ugh.
I'm sure perfect brain development behavior from your safe space.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
When she was 12 years old, Rosalina and Joe got divorced, but he stayed in
he's a
Ezra's
dick?
life. Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
Ah.
He did stay in Ezra's life. Eventually, they did have a good relationship. As she grew into an adult, they were fine.
Wow.
Oh.
In high school, Ezra quickly fell into the artsy crowd. She loved art. She drew all over everything, even her car. She had a white car with black. It was her blank canvas. So there's black drawings all over it. The court document kept saying doodles, but I'm like, she's good. I mean, you'll see.
Wow.
I'll
Only
post.
to her own car, I hope, because some might call that vandalism.
Sure. No, just
Yeah.
hers.
Okay. Great. Do what you will.
I'll post a picture of it.
Kind of sounds chic. Okay.
Yeah. When she was around 16 years old, she discovered that she was gender fluid. For a bulk of high school, she felt more comfortable being masculine and started presenting herself as male. But note, this changed in her late teenage years, and she started identifying as female, and it stayed that way, even currently. So
Okay.
that's why I'm sticking to female pronouns, just FYI.
Yeah.
But the point is, she was fluid, and as one of her friends said, she just wanted to be her own person, do her own thing, carry
Mhm.
on.
Right.
Part of that, though, was her name. Ezra's birth given name was Monica Kay, but in 2015, when she turned 18 years old, she legally changed it to Ezra McCandless. She wanted a more gender neutral name, and once they were on family vacation and she saw the name Ezra somewhere, and
Better
it
than Ezra.
immediately struck her. Yes, like
Maybe
better
she
than
saw the
Ezra.
band. Yeah.
Right. She loved it. She felt it very much suited her. And the reason she chose her last name, McCandless, was after Chris McCandless. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the movie Into the Wild, which is based on Chris
right.
McCandless' life. She really resonated with his love of nature, his life philosophies. So this is kind of an ode to him.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. After high school, Ezra attended the University of Wisconsin at Marinette, but soon dropped out and moved to Eau Claire, Wisconsin. She called it a free-spirited city. I get the impression it's very eclectic. It's artsy, a lot of independent shops, craft breweries, like a good mid-sized city.
Mm-hmm.
While there, she found her new hangout spot. It's a coffee shop and bar called Racy Delane's, which everyone just calls Racy's.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at pictures of it, and it's giving Central Perk. Like, there's a lot of couches and seating areas. It's more than just grab and go coffee. Like you hang out.
Okay.
Rachel, was this her hangout or was this her place where she worked and hung out?
No, she just hung out here.
Oh, okay. I thought you worked there. Got it. Thank you.
She got a job at Joann's Fabrics. She meets
Oh.
someone who does work there.
Okay.
So she's spending a lot of time there. And in the summer of 2017, while at Racy's, she met a guy named Jason Mangle. Jason was 33 years old, and he was a medic in the Army Reserve. Despite their 14-year age difference.
I was about to say, don't kill me. How old is she?
She's 19 at this point.
Oh, okay.
So he's her parents' age.
Yeah.
There's a 14-year age
God.
difference. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Literally her mother's age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally her mom and dad's age.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
So he's 33 and she's 19, which is crazy to think of that gap.
Yeah.
At first, he didn't realize how young she was. He thought she might be mid-20s, but by the time he found out she was 19, the train had already left the station. He was smitten. She was smitten. They started dating. Things got serious, and Ezra and Jason eventually moved in together in Eau Claire. Again, Ezra got a job at Joann's Fabrics. They talked about getting married and even called each other husband and wifey. So obviously, things were going well. They were happy. Things are good. In late 2017, 19-year-old Ezra found out she was pregnant. Jason let her decide what to do, totally up to her. She did choose to get an abortion. The only date they could do was October 6th, which was ironically her 20th birthday, which is
Oh, wow.
bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Jason drove her to the clinic, even paid for it, but unfortunately after that, the relationship was not the same. He cut off all physical intimacy. He started sleeping on the couch. He became kind of erratic with gestures when they argued, although, again, never physically abusive. Like he threw things at her at one point, or threw things against the wall at one point, not necessarily at her. She said he was kind of micromanaging everything she did, her makeup, her weight, even though she's little. He was saying, you're putting on weight, and she's like, I weigh
Screw
95
you.
pounds.
Right.
He called her stupid, which I'm sure
Oh, God.
felt great knowing
Yeah.
what she went through as a kid.
This guy's an asshole too. Wait, so he literally, but he just resents her. He did not want her to get an abortion. Sounds like. No?
Yeah. I really don't know what switched. I don't know if he was fully on board. I think he maybe secretly wanted to keep it, I guess, but he just, it just, I'm sure that they're not the first couple to go through something like that. And
Right.
They're not strong enough to take it.
Yeah.
But so it's just becoming really volatile, but they were determined to make it work. Right after this, then later, October 2017, so literally weeks after she ended the pregnancy, Jason and Ezra were hanging out at Racy's, and Ezra looked over to see this guy writing in a notebook very intently. And it caught her eye because Racy's was pretty busy at the time, and she was like, why is he so, like, what is he so focused on, and how? It's loud, it's whatever.
Adderall, man.
Adderall. It's a hell of a drug. So out of curiosity, she asked him, what are you writing about? And if his answer isn't the scariest icebreaker,
Holy shit.
I don't know what is.
What?
He said cannibalism.
Oh, great. Can I sit?
I'll have a seat then.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is eerie as shit. Okay.
So his name was Alex Woodworth. Alex was a 23-year-old barista at Racy's, and he was in school getting his degree in philosophy. He wanted to be a professor. Shocked by this answer, obviously, Ezra asked him to elaborate, and he talked about the anxieties of being someone's meal. And sometimes it was more metaphorically speaking, and what it means to consume another person you love, being all consumed by someone, the like. But then it was like absorbing the person you love so they wouldn't or couldn't leave you because now they're a part of you.
Ew.
Can I just point out that I also remember someone famous saying this as a reason for cannibalism, and his name was Jeff Dahmer?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay, just wanted to add that in.
You go. Yep.
Oh,
that's so true.
Yes.
It's
I don't
bizarre.
remember him saying that. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
crazy.
Okay. Batshit crazy. Especially for our first conversation. What are we talking about here? We're in a coffee shop. At least they're in public. I was just like, thank God it's this busy.
I know. All his coworkers are around because he works there. And he's
this guy's working there?
You might have thought that would have been the end of the conversation, but
yeah,
you might. That's not what we do here at Women in Crime and People Are the Worst.
No, it's not. She was morbidly curious. I get it. I'd probably be like, what's that now? What are you writing? Yeah.
Can I read it?
Yeah.
So eventually, they're having this conversation. Jason was talking to other people, but eventually he does walk over and he joins them. And from that moment on, the three of them really hit it off. They started hanging out, the three of them, especially Ezra and Alex, which you would think Jason, her boyfriend, would oppose that. But he was encouraging it because they were very like-minded. They're obviously way closer in age. They had the same life views. Ezra was going through a lot, having just had an abortion. Jason thought Alex could provide support for her.
Okay.
So Alex and Ezra start getting very close. They go on long walks. They confided in each other about their past and childhood. He told her about his struggles with depression, his not great relationship with his dad, just, getting real deep.
Yeah.
Between their blossoming friendship and her relationship with Jason going through a rocky period, it may come to no surprise that eventually Alex and Ezra start having an affair.
Yeah.
It started emotionally at first, then in late October, early November 2017, so they've really only known him for like a month. Jason was out of town and she ended up staying over at Alex's house, and that's when it turned romantic.
Yeah.
After a couple months, though, Alex became increasingly intense. And I mean that in a lot of ways. Like, he would write these long, the court document kept saying essays, but they're journal entries.
Okay.
He'd write these entries and read them to her, sometimes in the middle of sex.
Uh-uh.
And a lot of them were
Oh.
dark. I know, it's not weird.
Oh, I must have
And a
missed
lot of them were
that.
dark.
Yeah, yeah. He would read them, and I'm like, wow, you show restraint. If I know my husband, and I think I do, he couldn't stop if a freight train was coming at us. Reading from your diary? I don't think so.
Oh my God. I can't think of any quicker way to get me out of bed than stop and reading a dark journal entry. I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay,
We're not doing it. So a few examples of these journal entries were, a lot of them, again, talked about cannibalism. This is something that comes up a lot. They talk about cannibalism all the time.
that's so hot.
Also nihilism, which I was not familiar with, but essentially the thought of life having no meaning. Are y'all familiar with that?
Oh, my
I
God.
honestly had never heard of that.
Yeah.
The thought of life having no meaning. So
It's
you
like
just,
a philosophy.
you're
It's
numb.
like a philosophical
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That nothing really matters is the vibe I
Yes.
get. It's,
Mm,
you know.
okay.
One said, I've half-heartedly tried to isolate myself from you, afraid I would taint you, yet I love you. I'm sorry for this failure on my part. I know my touch would kill you, yet I reach out. This is my sin. Another one, yeah,
Sorry. Just during sex. That's so hot.
during sex. That's very hot. Erotic always contains violence, and that can't be avoided. I tried to escape the monster I became with you. I have a habit of breaking people's lives for the sake of my sadism.
Ooh.
Things like that.
No.
Heavy stuff.
Big ass red flags.
Yeah. So in addition to that, their sex started becoming more aggressive. They'd blindfold each other. He'd choke her, cut her clothes off. And she was fine with it. She was like, explore, I'm open.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
One thing she later said bothered her was that Alex preferred that she identify more masculine. She said he told her that it was attractive to him because she seemed more confident that way. He sometimes called her boy, but that just wasn't her anymore.
Uh-oh.
She aligned with her feminine side, so she did not like that.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You can't tell someone what you, I mean, okay.
Yeah. So all of this is going on. And at this point, Jason, her boyfriend, is none the wiser. Alex is encouraging Ezra to break up with Jason and commit to him, but she's not ready for that either. Things get even heavier in 2018 when Alex told Ezra that he tried to take his own life.
Oh.
And at that time, he called her and she was with Jason. So the two of them rush over and like Jason is bandaging up his wrists. And like he has
Oh
no
my
idea
God.
what has been going on.
Oh, wow.
Needless to say, this is getting very volatile. And the jig is up when Jason finds text messages in Ezra's phone between her and Jason and confirmed what he had started to suspect.
Uh-huh.
Wait, you mean between her and Alex, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you called that. The whole time I was rereading this, I was like, please don't mix up the names. Thank you. Yes. Jason looked through her phone and saw text messages from Alex, and it confirmed they had been having an affair.
Mm-hmm.
One night, Jason confronted them at Racy's, and this was the end of it for Ezra. They both wanted her to commit to them. She loved them both. She didn't know what to do. So in early February 2018, she broke up with both of them to give herself time to think and figure it out.
It's a wise decision.
Mm-hmm.
Is she still living with Jason, or did she move?
When she broke up with him in early February 2018, she was living with them. So she moved back in with her mom.
Oh, okay.
But we know that one relationship when you're young, I mean, she's 20 at this point, it's not that easy. So they do eventually start talking. They don't speak for like a couple of weeks. Then she and Jason start talking again. Eventually they start hooking up a little bit again. One night,
as the story goes. Yeah.
as the story goes, and it's just about to get more twisted. So stick with me. One night after they hooked up, Ezra fell asleep and Jason started going through her phone again and found text messages between her and John Hanson.
Fuck's that?
John, yeah, I know. So I'm like, one more.
Okay.
John Hanson is one of their other guy friends. He's actually friends with Alex and Jason. They just, they're in the same friend
Ezra, this is getting quite messy.
It's messy.
Quite messy. Okay.
I don't know what the text said, but it was at the very least flirtatious because when he saw it, he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
He woke her up. She was asleep. So he woke her up to confront her and threw her phone against the wall and it broke. Then immediately he called John and put him on speaker with Ezra right there and was like, what's going on? I read these texts. John's denying anything happened. Ezra's denying anything has happened. Jason doesn't believe it, obviously. So eventually Ezra admits it. John gets off the phone. Ezra admits it, but tells him it's not what he thinks. It happened while Jason was away for National Guard duties, and she went over to John's house to hang out. And while there, they started drinking wine, which led into a lot of wine. She eventually gets so drunk she throws up, completely blacked out. She doesn't remember a lot of the night. Finally, she fell asleep, but when she woke up, John was having sex with her. He had fully taken advantage of her. So now Jason is really fuming at John.
Right.
Can I point out, though, this is all according to Ezra? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
While women don't usually false report sexual assault, there is a small percentage, 2% of women who do, and I'm wondering, if this is going to fall into that category.
Yeah. Is it really 2%?
I was about to say.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Oh,
2%.
wow.
That's what can be established according to the last FBI report. It was 2% of all cases are false. So most women are reporting honestly.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. I
Wow.
absolutely lean that way. Like, yeah, I'm probably going to believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jason takes Ezra to his friend Josh's house. I hate to throw a name out there.
I know.
His friend's house. He looked to this friend Josh as a rational, level-headed support. He needed like an unbiased, calm person.
We all need that in
Sure.
this story.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have him join the call.
I know.
Like,
And now,
is he rational? 'Cause this is
now
getting
we're
real
bringing
messy.
on Josh. Josh, welcome to the show.
Imagine.
Josh, though, like out of fear for how angry Jason was, he was scared of what Jason might do to John. So he called police, as a preventative measure. He was
Good.
like, we need really get someone over here. There may have been a sexual assault. Her pseudo boyfriend is furious. Like, let's get over here.
Yeah.
So police got there and they brought Ezra down to the station to give a statement about what was going on. And she told him that John assaulted her. They took her statement. They're investigating it. Meanwhile, though, Jason and Ezra start working it out. And by mid-March, they're talking about getting back together for good. They're going to go to couples counseling. They're going to work it out. Then everything took a turn for the worst. Alex knew that Jason and Ezra were starting to rekindle, but he wasn't fully out of the picture yet. So on March 22nd, 2018, around 12:50 p.m., Ezra went over to Alex's house to have a conversation about their relationship and just get closure. It's over. She really wanted to make it clear that the affair wasn't a mistake. She was fine being friends, but it never should have happened. She wanted to be with Jason. While they're in his room talking, they're the only ones at the house, but they're in his bedroom talking when they suddenly hear a phone ringing in the other room. And she knew immediately it was Jason's ringtone.
Oh, forgot you could assign ringtones. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Alex and Ezra walked out of the room and Jason's standing there.
Oh, sorry. It's Jason's phone.
Jason's phone was ringing.
I thought you meant her cell phone was ringing and she could tell it was
I'm
Jason
sorry.
calling because of the assigned ring. Okay.
No.
Oh, shit.
They're the only ones there that they think, and that the doors close and they hear a phone ringing in the living room and they're like, that's Jason's phone ringing.
Oh,
so yeah.
Creepy.
I know. Alex and Ezra walk out of the room and see Jason standing there, obviously, and they asked what he was doing there, and he said he was worried, so he was just checking on him. They both said they were fine, they just needed to talk, and at this point, Alex is visibly on edge. He's really annoyed that Jason showed up. Jason agrees to leave, but Alex and Ezra were like, it's fine, we're going somewhere to talk anyway. So all three of them go to walk outside, and the cops are there. They're pulling up. So they're very confused. Apparently, Alex's house is right next to a school. And when one of the janitors saw Jason ride up to Alex's house on his bike, I guess he was kind of pacing and outside in the driveway trying to figure out what was going on because Ezra's car was there. The janitor got spooked and called to report a suspicious person.
If you see
Oh,
something, say
wow.
something.
That's
Nice
right.
job.
I know.
Right?
I was like, you were on it. He was like, listen, we're in elementary school. I'm not doing this.
Love
This
that
guy
guy.
looks
Love
sketchy.
Josh.
Yeah.
He did it. He did it. Yeah.
We have two people in the story doing the right things.
The right thing.
Okay. So
And
far,
now,
so good.
the janitor, welcome. I'm just kidding. What led you to do that?
Good for you.
So yeah, they walk out and the cops are there and they're like, what's going on? So the police talked to the three of them to make sure everything was okay, which all three confirm it was. The cops left and made note that Alex and Ezra left in Ezra's very distinct white car with black writing all over it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or drawings all over it. And Jason left on his bike. Roughly 3 hours later, Ezra was banging on Don Sippel's door begging for help.
Oh, okay.
So now we're back at the hospital. She's being treated for her wounds, and they give her a sexual assault exam. Detective Ryan Prock is trying to get a statement from Ezra, but she can't remember anything. She remembers being really cold and scared and feeling like she had to keep running because she was so scared. And he asked who she was so afraid of, and she said, Alex. All the while, like while she's talking to Detective Prock, she's begging them to call Jason. She asked for him over and over again, so they're trying to track him down, as well as Alex, obviously. Again, Don's house was in Springbrook, which is like 20 minutes outside of Eau Claire. So she has no idea where her car is, where Alex is. So they're shifting all efforts to finding both of them. And even though she said like just then that she was afraid of Alex, she initially said they attacked her or she got them off.
Yeah.
So given the background to this sordid love triangle, they want to talk to Jason too. Detective Prock gets in touch with Jason and tells him the situation. So he rushes down to the hospital. He tells the detectives that he and Ezra were exes and used to live together, but they were talking about getting back together, even though he knew things were still very complicated with Alex. He also confirmed that he went over to Alex's house earlier that day to see what was going on. He found them to be arguing. They weren't screaming, but arguing, but it was very tense. He said you could cut the tension with a knife. Then the police showed up. Y'all know the rest.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alex is their number one suspect after talking to Ezra. Detectives kept calling his cell phone to no avail. So they went to his apartment or his house and they went to Racy's because, again, he works there. He's not there. They also check his bank records, but there was no activity. They talked to Alex's family and friends, and they said they hadn't heard from him in the past like 24 hours. They told the family and friends what was going on, and they're like, absolutely not. He did not attack Ezra. There's no way. But he was nowhere to be found. So the next day they went back to Don Sippel's farm to search around the area for any sign of him or the car, since obviously that's now a crime scene. And as they approach the farm, they're not there yet, but they do notice a muddy field entrance. So they stop, and Detective Prock got out of the squad car and began walking around, and the other detectives join them. Sure enough, they spot two sets of footprints, and they see tire tracks going into the entrance, but not out. So they're like, this has to be where the car is.
Yeah.
They keep walking up this incline, and when they get to the top, they find Ezra's car on a desolate dirt road. They see that it's stuck in the mud. There's also clearly been a struggle. There's clothes, boots, personal items just thrown everywhere outside the car. The back door is wide open. There's a large amount of blood. The next day, they go back to the hospital to talk to Ezra again, and they tell her that they found her car. It's stuck in the mud, and they ask if she remembers how it got there. And by now, it's been almost 2 days. So she starts to remember that when they left Alex's house, they go to find somewhere to talk, just kind of driving aimlessly. I think they wanted to find a park or something, but they're talking about their relationship and how everything's gone down. He knew that she wanted to get back together with Jason. He was very frustrated with that. So she started getting very anxious and asked if he could drive. Like, she didn't even know where she was going. He kind of didn't either, but she wanted to switch because she could feel like a panic attack coming.
Okay.
So he said, sure. They switch. And eventually Alex pulled off the road and onto this dirt road neither of them had ever seen it before. It's really unfamiliar. But again, they're about 20 minutes outside of town. He thought it just looked like a nice place to walk around and talk. They ended up, again, getting stuck in the mud. And while they're trying to figure out what to do, Alex starts referring to her in masculine pronouns, which he knew she didn't identify with anymore and made her really uncomfortable.
That is so disrespectful. I can't imagine how that would make me feel. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Then it got heated and he grabbed her by the arm. So now she's really scared and anxious. And suddenly he carves the word in her arm, boy. The next thing she knew, she was in a fight for her life. The next thing she remembers is being hurt, feeling pain, and then it goes black. She finally comes to when she's running towards Don's house. She remembers like realizing there was a house there, going to the door. So she's telling Detective Prock all this. He's examining the carving more closely, and it's in her left arm because she was in the passenger seat. He was in the driver's seat. And then he looks at Ezra and says, "Why is the carving facing you and not upside down?" He said,
Oh, shit.
if he wrote this, it would be upside down. He didn't do it, did he? And she said, "No." He said, "You did this, didn't you?" And she said, "Yes."
Mm-hmm.
Then Detective Prock tells her, "We found Alex's brutally stabbed body hanging out of the back door of your car."
Holy shit. When they found it in the mud?
Yeah. I said there was a bunch of blood they found. That's because there was we'll get to the injuries, but brutally stabbed body hanging out, and it was Alex.
Okay. I knew this story, but I was like,
I knew you didn't know the details.
I didn't know
of that
Alex.
triangle.
I was like, Jason did something or Alex did something to contribute, but no, it's Ezra's the monster.
Well, maybe. No, we'll see. Okay, so
okay.
But you did promise an audible gasp, and that was one. I heard.
Yeah, I did, and then I had audible holy shit too. You got two.
Yeah, that's true. And we don't fake it over here. People are the worst. Well, you'll hear stories where I'm like, "Oh, I know this one. I'm not going to be shocked." But go ahead.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I knew that's why I was like, "Don't go through those emails."
I know. Well, that's what I was like. I kind of, yeah. All right, you go. I won't tell you what I know. I won't bore the listeners with that. But holy shit.
She tells the detectives that after they got stuck in the mud, they both got out, helpless as to what to do and how to get it out. She's nervous because she doesn't know where they are, and she did not want to pay for a tow truck. She decides to go lay down in her back seat to try to calm her anxiety when Alex comes to join her, and his behavior's bizarre. He starts talking to her in the third person, like, "Ezra is so handsome. Ezra is so beautiful," which he didn't normally talk like that. He would call her beautiful, but not in third person. So she was like, "This is weird." He then took off her glasses, and she cannot see without them.
Mm-hmm.
He told her that she betrayed him and he deserves this. So he takes off her scarf and blindfolds her. Then he starts cutting her clothes off with a knife. She told him to stop, but he doesn't. So now she's frozen in fear. After he cuts her tights off, she feels him grazing the knife on her skin, and then he cuts her, which he had never done before. I told you before, they were exploring their sex life. He had cut clothes off before, but he had never touched her with the knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now she's really scared, and he's cutting her. Then he just stabs her in the leg. She starts swatting him away and tries to grab the knife, but grabs the blade, which is why her hand was cut. Then realizes that her knee is between his legs. So she knees him in the groin, and when she does that, he drops the knife, and she grabs it and tries to get up and out of the door, but he stops her, grabs her by the hair and the throat, tries to get the knife back from her, but he can't. So she just starts stabbing. She just goes. He finally lets go, and she gets out of the car and just takes off towards Don's house.
Rachel, she didn't remember any of this stuff until much later on.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Until after they found the car, she had been in the hospital for a couple of days, working with psychiatrists, trying to get it back. But yes, this is when she remembers all this. She said she carved Boy into her arm to kind of wake herself up and get her out of her panic. So now the investigation shifts from an assault with Alex as the main suspect to a murder with Alex as the victim, although it may be self-defense. That's what they got to figure out.
Yeah.
They get an autopsy back and determined that Alex had been stabbed 16 times, and it's, again, very brutal. There were very deep stab wounds to the head, as well as his genitals and his back.
Holy shit.
Doesn't sound like self-defense.
No, it
Exactly.
sure
They-
doesn't. And I was like, oh, I believe Ezra less now.
Yeah. The brutality exceeded the need for self-defense. It's
Right.
overkill. And once we get into the trial, we'll get more into that, but it's overkill.
Ooh, yeah.
And also, how could it be self-defense if it's on his back?
Right.
In the back, exactly. And I'll just go and say the deepest cut was to his head, and it was behind his ear.
Ow.
Like she did it from behind. He
Yeah.
did not see it coming. No,
Oh, shit. God. What's her problem?
I know. Well, we'll get to it. They re-examined all of Ezra's wounds, and at first, when it was an assault investigation and there was a manhunt for Alex, they were relieved that all of her injuries were superficial. Now, however,
Uh-huh.
this is very suspicious.
Yeah.
Detective Proc called them scratches, especially
A cat did this to you.
yeah, especially the one on her hands, which again, at first they're like defensive wounds. She said it was from grabbing the blade. If you grab a knife by the blade, your hand is cut wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These were like little marks.
Oh,
All of her injuries were like that. All of them.
yeah.
There's not one deep wound to her, which is weird considering his first stab to the leg was when she was in her like frozen fear, blindfolded, couldn't see
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
and yeah, bullshit.
Ezra is arrested on April 6, 2018, and charged with first degree intentional homicide. I'm going to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Her trial starts in October 2019, and it's a media frenzy. Headlines are calling her the killer girlfriend. She's being compared to Jodi Arias. It lasts for 15 days, and by the end of it, we are seeing a very different side to this sordid tale.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in trial, and this I'm going to get some opinion. I want to hear what y'all think. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The prosecutor, Andrea, and I should have looked up how to say this name. Nodolf. I think Nodolf.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Says 22-year-old Ezra wanted to get back together with Jason, and in order for him to believe that she was actually done with Alex, Alex had to be gone for good. The day before Alex was murdered, Ezra sent Jason over 600 messages begging him to get back together with her, saying that the affair with Alex was a mistake. Andrea said she was playing victim throughout this exchange. She really just wanted Jason to feel bad for her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
They said she also resented Alex because the reveal of their affair was the nail in the coffin for her and Jason's relationship, and it forced her to move out of his house in Eau Claire and back in with her mom, and that really pissed her off. And apparently that's
Wow.
only his fault. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was about to say, wow, no accountability there.
Right.
Huh.
They think this was very much premeditated. She lured Alex to this desolate road where she could kill him, stage it as self-defense, so she could be the victim and win Jason back, which is why at the hospital, they theorize, she kept asking for Jason. Not her mom, not her dad, who's a cop, and by now they do have a good relationship. She asked for Jason over and over. The premeditation seems apparent because on February 24th, 2018, this is almost a month before the murder, Ezra had texted Alex and told him not to talk to her ever again, and he complied. There's no text after that. He never reaches out to her.
Are you serious?
So why a month later did she reach out to him, like wanting to talk about the relationship, wanting closure?
Oh, she really like used him as a pawn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so shitty.
Prosecution side for sure. Jason testified and said the day of the murder, Ezra, there's one part I cannot wait to hear Rebecca's reaction. Actually, everyone's reaction, because it has nothing to do, it's not even a crime, but it's, wow, I'll tell you. Okay. Jason testified and said the day of the murder, Ezra was very disheveled. She was acting very weird. He was at Racy's around 11 a.m. when she came in with, quote, a fire in her eyes. She said she felt like her voice had been taken and she needed to find Alex. She told him at that time she wanted to return his water bottle and bookmark. She later said it was to talk about the relationship and get closure. I'm like, but it must have been a very important bookmark.
Right.
Bookmark. Okay.
I mean,
Fold the damn
very
page.
special. I know, dog ear that shit.
And it wasn't like a Poland Spring water bottle, was it?
I know. I'm like, what kind of? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for real. Alex wasn't there, so she said she was going to his house, but Jason noted that something seemed so off. She wasn't acting like herself. He knew something was wrong. One of the baristas at Racy's agreed, saying she noticed something was wrong with Ezra because she tipped. She never tipped.
What
Oh.
a bitch. Oh, that's all you had to say. She
I'm
is
sorry.
a monster.
What an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
So she said, this barista said she usually got free coffee. Again, then you tip 100%.
Right. God.
Or she would convince someone else to buy her coffee. I'm like, you're the worst regular.
She's the worst.
Oh,
God.
no, that's not good.
I could do a whole episode on that. But the barista's like, oh yeah, she was acting weird. You know what? She tipped. They're like,
Oh my
what?
God.
That does not make her guilty of murder, but that does make her guilty of being an asshole.
Right.
So
For sure.
that's interesting.
Mhm.
But it was that behavior that concerned Jason so much that he rode his bike over to Alex's house to make sure everything was okay. And when he got there, he noticed Ezra's car in the driveway idling and the music was on. She left it on, perhaps for a quick getaway, prosecutors will say. So he goes in, could tell they were arguing, couldn't make out what they were saying. You know, the rest. The cops came, whatever. Smart janitor who's on the ball.
Mhm. Right.
Also, regarding Jason's testimony, I encourage everyone, watch the court TV video of this. Her behavior when he is called to the stand is bizarre. Like, up until this point, it was noted all along the trial. It's a 15-day trial. She's emotionless. It comes up a lot. They said she was insanely calm. She was very relaxed. Not how most would be on trial for murder, but when Jason is called to the stand, she is shifting in her seat. She sits up. Her face immediately softens. She smiles. She starts looking around the courtroom like she is giddy.
Really? Oh, you're going to post this, right?
Oh, yeah. It's
bizarre.
To quote Tyra Banks, she's smizing hard. Like her eyes immediately soften.
What's smizing?
It's
smiling.
Tyra Banks used to encourage her models on America's Next Top Model to smize. It's where you smile with your eyes.
It's like a smile.
Like
smile with your eyes.
Smile with your eyes. A smize.
She
does though. He walks up and he's like, taking oath, and she's
like trying to seduce him on the stand.
Have y'all seen that part? I was almost linked it in my thing, but I tried to figure out how to play it right here.
I read that she was also wearing a sweater that he gave her or something like this, a sweater. I read there was some significance to something she was wearing being something maybe he gave her, and she kind of slipped her jacket off and revealed the sweater, but that was, I'm not positive if I had that right.
Yes, I encourage y'all watch that whole clip with him from him being called to the stand to this. So while he takes the oath, he gets to the stand, and as soon as he sits down, she takes off her blazer to reveal that she's wearing a green sweater that Jason had bought her when she was in the hospital following the attack.
Okay.
She was clearly trying to get his attention, and he saw right through it.
Trying to pull at any heartstrings he has towards her. Like,
yeah,
come on.
He said it felt like emotional manipulation, which he had been through with her their entire relationship. It was just more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like this is Ezra's version of flirting. I don't really know.
I guess, yes. It has been. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they hadn't seen each other at that point, I think, a year and a half. So she's just like excited to see him. And again, the whole time she's cool, calm, collected, no emotion. Ew. The prosecutor then points to her previous claims of sexual assault as another example of her constant need to be a victim. And that is painful to say because, again, I side with women, but this is part of the 2%. And I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. She, again, claimed that John Hanson assaulted her. She actually claimed it on 2 separate occasions. I didn't get into the other one because the details were fuzzy and I kind of didn't get it. But she claimed it happened twice. As a result, Jason and their friend Josh called police. Well, during the investigation into the assault, Detective Prock interviewed Alex. And Alex confirmed that Ezra did tell him about that night that they had sex, but said it was consensual. She regretted it, but it was consensual.
Right.
Prock then asked Alex about Ezra's character to determine the validity of the claim, and Alex said he sided with John and then insinuated that Ezra tends to lie. Mm-hmm. When investigators asked Ezra to share the text communication between her and John, she said she deleted it because it triggered her anxiety So they went to John, who happily handed over his phone. And those texts showed a very different story. There are a lot of explicit photos sent back and forth. They talked about trying BDSM. At one point, she asked if he was ever going to pound this because she wants to fuck everything that moved, like after she had been working out. It's a very bizarre text.
Okay.
Other friends came forward saying no. She was very excited about their like secret hookups, and she liked John a little bit. And so they ultimately closed the case saying this was, quote, a rare instance of false reporting. And then while on the stand, this comes up, and she takes that claim back. She says, we hooked up. I never said he assaulted me. And Proc got on the stand.
Brother.
Jason got on the stand. They're like, no.
You went to the police about it.
Proc,
no, we have it on records, ma'am.
The officer who took the statement testified, but Proc was the one who investigated it, who happened to be investigating Alex's murder. So he was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what happened.
And I have the documentation to prove it.
That's right. Yeah. I'm like, that was
What?
reported. So then they point to Alex's autopsy, the brutality of his murder. He was stabbed 16 times. Again, the deepest to his head, behind his ear. One of the officers said, who found Alex, who found the car, found Alex, said, I've been in law enforcement for a long time. I've seen a lot of horrific things, but I was not prepared for what I saw at this scene. The DA mirrored that and said, I've been a prosecutor since 2001, and I've never seen anything this violent.
Wow.
Also, most of his stab wounds were post-mortem.
Oh.
Right.
Typically in
what the hell is her
self-defense,
problem?
they'll stab once, maybe twice, and then run. But again, overkill. What is like normal? I mean,
None of it's
16.
normal.
Well, none of it's normal. I hope to never know. But like, you incapacitate them, I would think, and run.
Yeah.
It's not always normal though to run, to be honest. When people talk about their response, I wouldn't say that's always the case. Yeah, some people will retreat. But it's also not, there's no typical number, I guess. So people always go, it's overkill. And yeah, it definitely seems that way. But when people are stabbing in self-defense too, it's like adrenaline and fear. You don't necessarily know that someone has stopped coming at you. So you're just stabbing repeatedly. So it can be overkill, but it can also be a genuine fear and an uncertainty to just keep going until you feel safe.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That makes sense, actually.
That makes sense. Well, and then that makes sense in one of her. So when she was
I'm not saying that's what happened here.
No.
I'm just saying that's another
just
angle.
for conversation's sake.
Yeah. Well, and at one point, and I didn't even include this because the changes in her stories, it was getting very confusing.
Yeah.
So at one point she did tell Proc that after she was done defending herself, she saw how bad he was bleeding and like started like putting pressure on to stop the bleeding and help him. And he was like, he was attacking you. Why didn't you run? Or why did it take you so long to run to Don's house? And she was like, I don't know. I thought he needed help. So I was like, is that a thing? And maybe.
I think I would sooner call 911.
Yeah.
I don't know if it were me. I don't know. It's hard to say in those situations what you would do if you're actually being attacked. Now, she's the murderer, clearly. So none of this is relevant.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Well, and we'll talk about it because the defense hasn't gone yet.
Oh, right.
And then while I'm still in the prosecution, and on the contrary to his brutal stab wounds, hers are again very minimal. One of them cleared up. One of them that was like on her right here on her jawline, cleared up within 2 days. They could not see the scratch 2 days later. Like it's
cat scratches. Yeah. Literally.
And then of course she admits boy was her, not Alex. They did give her a sexual assault exam. Did not find Alex's DNA, but based on her account of what happened, it didn't get that far. Yeah. They gave it to her because at the hospital, she said she thought she may have been assaulted since her clothes were cut, but she didn't remember. So that I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
They said Alex had no history of violence. They point to that. Everyone talked about how he's the nicest guy, the biggest nerd, very loving. His controlling nature that Ezra paints is bullshit. They say he never preferred her to be masculine. One said he said that the person who testified to that said that was all bullshit. We'll never know.
Wow.
I mean, unless it's written in his journal, I don't know if we'll know that. But his friend said that's not true.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They point to her inconsistencies, agreeing that trauma can cause like a lapse in memory when you're so stressed, and then it comes back when you're less stressed. But they're like, but not lie. It doesn't call you to lie. She said he did the boy thing, and she knew that that wasn't true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
who knows? Forensic psychologist Dr. Joni Johnston testified about Ezra's childhood, saying Ezra likely felt that her upbringing was chaotic and it would have been easy for her to feel an instability in her life physically and emotionally. She craved the attention she didn't get when she was younger, especially because her biological father was absent and her mother was so young and working all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jason was still her friend after they broke up, she wanted to turn that friendship back into a romantic relationship. So she developed a coping mechanism that included playing the victim, and it made her feel in control because she could manipulate other people, which is their point throughout the prosecution. The state's argument is she is the victim. This is all crap. They even point to her Instagram saying that she put up a quote that read, "I'm the fox, I'm the tricky one." She's tricky. That's what I tell my kids. That's a tricky person.
Yeah.
Don't trust that tricky person.
Don't trust anyone, really.
Well, I mean, they're all the worst.
They're all awful. Except y'all.
Not y'all.
Thanks.
Again, the defense argues self-defense, saying he was obsessive. He wanted her to choose him over Jason, and when she didn't, he attacked her. They use his journal entries to back that up, all the bizarre entries, which it's true. I mean, I watched the testimonies. Those entries are dark. They're bizarre. Right. But he was studying philosophy. A lot of people called him a deep thinker. To me, he's 23, she's 20. They seem sort of emo, nobody understands us.
Yeah.
Type, I just think it was one of those relationships to me.
Right.
The defense goes on to say that after the attack, Ezra doesn't have sound judgment. She's just simply trying not to pass out. That's why she carved boy into her arm, which they recognize is abnormal, but it was an abnormal and very stressful situation. So what can you do? They go over childhood and how sad it was, her dad calling her stupid. This is interesting. Okay. Which again, she wasn't allowed to cry. That may be why she was emotionless during trial. She said she tends to close up if she's feeling some sort of way. She shuts down.
Okay.
Again, she was told crying's not okay when she's what? 10.
God. Yeah. God, Ezra's adopted dad would hate me, cry all the time. I love a good cry.
It's the only reaction.
It's my only emotion. It really is. Happy, cry. Sad, cry. Stress, cry.
Right. They, of course, talk about what you can go through after an abortion, also traumatic. So she was evaluated by a psychiatrist while in the hospital who diagnosed her with PTSD and testified that the impacts of PTSD aligns with her behavior, inconsistent statements, and memory issues. It can also cause her to regress. And this is what I found kind of interesting. When Dawn Sipple called police, Ezra was in such a panic that she couldn't remember her own name. But when she got to the hospital, she said her name was Monica, which was her name at birth. She regressed back to the person she was before she was 18. And that had happened before. When Ezra was 16 years old, she got in a pretty bad car wreck where a horse ran out in front of her car and she hit it. She had to go to the hospital and was fine. I don't know about the horse.
But that's a big wreck. That's
a big wreck.
Yeah.
A few years later, she ended up being fine. A few years later, while she was dating Jason, she had legally changed her name to Ezra. She's 18, 19 at this point. She got in another car accident and hit her head so hard that she was unconscious.
Oh.
When she woke up in the hospital, the doctors asked her name. She said Monica. And then she asked, "Is the horse okay?"
Oh,
she regressed back to the 16-year-old who got in the car wreck. And they're like,
how many years later was the second one?
2 or 3.
Wow.
Were they saying that she had PTSD from the event with Alex or from something from childhood?
Childhood and being attacked is what they thought could have happened. If what she's saying happened and she was attacked, definitely that. But based on her childhood, he was testifying to her childhood being not good.
I've just never heard PTSD used in that way to explain like your childhood can certainly affect your later outcomes, but I've never really heard it referred to as PTSD. Have you, Megan?
Depends on what it actually was. Like, was
Yeah.
it,
Like if it
not
was
just
an
not
incident.
childhood maybe in general, but
Yeah.
I guess
An
no, I
event.
have heard of
Yeah.
no, I've heard of kids that were raised in like war-torn areas suffering from
Yes.
PTSD, so
Mhm.
that would be a whole but I don't know specifically about her case.
Yes, I was wondering about that too because while it does seem, I mean, a dad calling you stupid, it's sad. But I was like, there must be, and her childhood, the details on it are very vague. So there
Yeah.
may be some like
Specific,
darker,
yeah.
specific things that
Mhm.
happen that
Right.
were not out there. I
Right.
couldn't find them. I could only find like the verbal and emotional abuse. But I guess he is talking about the PTSD from childhood because that was his example was her car accident with the horse. And then 3 years later, before this attack from Alex, as she claims,
Right.
she got in another car accident and woke up and asked about the horse. And he was like, see, that's a sign of PTSD. She regressed. And so I just thought that
Huh.
was interesting.
That is interesting.
They point to evidence. The defense points to evidence from the scene saying there was blood dripping downward on Alex's pants, suggesting he was standing up while he was being stabbed. So they're saying like he was still assaulting her. He was standing up. She had to stab him 16 times to get him down. That one's okay. This one, I'm like, I don't know. This one, okay, stay with me here. Ezra was wearing 3 layers of clothing during this attack. A base layer, a sweater on top of it, and a jacket on top of that. Your face looks perplexed. It's March in Wisconsin. It's freezing.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the jacket was open. So that was not cut. The sweater and base layer were both cut right down the middle. The sweater didn't have any blood on it, but the base layer did. That means Ezra couldn't have cut her own clothing after she stabbed Alex to death because her hands would have been covered in blood, in Alex's blood, and she would have transferred the blood to all 3 layers of her clothing, but only the base layer had blood on it.
Couldn't she have done it before?
That's what I'm like,
Yeah.
so he was, yeah, that's what I said, but I don't know.
Clearly, she did. I mean,
Yeah. Ezra testified, and she is to the point. She's calm. I would be a blubbering mess, especially at 22 years old. She is
calm,
speaking
cool,
clearly,
collected.
very calm, cool, collected.
I thought she was very articulate in her testimony.
I did too, and they made her read all these journal entries.
She got on stand.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I
Hour,
okay. Let's
days, I think.
go.
Yeah.
She was on stand. Yeah, she speaks very clearly. She has to go into their sex life a lot, and she, winces. Like they're like, I know this is embarrassing for you. She's like, it really is, but she's very articulate. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
To which the prosecutor said, very well coached. She stuck to script. I'm like, 22
Right.
years old though. She is
Right.
articulate. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. And on November 1st, 2019, they found Ezra guilty of first-degree intentional homicide. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 50 years. She's also prohibited from contacting Alex's family, which I think is fine.
Oh, yeah.
During trial, it was said that the jury was paying very, very close attention, writing a bunch of notes. One source said that it was when Jason took the stand that solidified the prosecutor's theory of motive. She was so smitten. They're
Oh,
like,
I can't wait to see that footage. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say, she did say during sentencing this quote, and we can leave it at this. She did apologize to Alex's family, but she released a statement, and this is true. It said, quote, she felt re-traumatized after this trial and said, quote, if you breathe, it'll be used against you. If you cry too hard or too much, she's fake. If you don't cry enough, she's heartless. If you smile, she's not taking it seriously. If you keep your face calm, she's unfeeling. Daily, smile, not too much. It's okay to cry, but not too much. Don't react, but make sure you show who you are. The battle for justice has only begun. It's true.
Yeah, she can't win.
Yeah.
Very true.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I will say, while keeping her composure during trial, during sentencing, all the victim impact statements, her mom, her dad, Don the farmer gave a statement. She is sobbing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it all releases right there.
What did Don have to say?
That they had been communicating back and forth, and she had been sending him her artwork, which she had eventually sold, but she doesn't sell it anymore. And he believed that she was truly a good person and hopes that she doesn't have to spend the rest of her life in jail. Again, she is sobbing during that. It's
Mhm.
very unusual that he would have gotten up, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Very
you wouldn't think that he didn't know her, but they just started
Yeah.
talking in jail, and he said, I hope to continue the friendship. He has since passed, but he was 89 years old when that happened.
Wow.
So she'll be eligible for parole in 2070 at 72 years old.
All right.
She did file an appeal as recently as September of this year,
Mhm.
and it was denied.
So far, so denied. All right.
Yeah.
So she broke up with Alex and he complied though. Like, this is such a senseless killing. It's very hard to be on her side. Although you're giving me like mixed emotions. I'm like, well,
Yeah. Well, at least through via phone. But he worked at races. She's at races all the time. Maybe they talked a lot in person. I don't know.
okay.
It seems I lean
But the
towards they
motive
got
is
it right.
she's just yeah, they got it right.
I
She's just
think.
obsessed with Jason, and
Yeah.
that
I
was
want
her
it.
game to win him back.
Yeah.
It seems like that. I mean, I know Amy wants to speak to that a little bit, but I will say I think that Ezra had a delusion that a couple of women in other cases I've seen, and that is that the delusion is if Alex was never in the picture, if he's gone completely, if Jason never knows he existed, it's like he never existed. This never happened. I never ruined the relationship. So, like, the removal of him is negating anything that happened. And I have seen this happen, especially in love triangles, where a couple like says, all right, one will say, if you get rid of that person, if you kill them, it will prove your love to me, and that person will be forever out of our life. So it's like it never happened. And I think it is part delusion. And I do think that that plays a factor here. And I'll let Amy speak to also maybe some of Ezra's personality disorders I think we see.
Yeah. I was surprised that there wasn't a public clinical diagnosis. I don't know if that means that she was never evaluated. So me and Megan can talk about what her behavior, certain behaviors might be indicative of possible personality disorders, but there's really no way to know. But she really seems like something's going on, like maybe borderline personality disorder or what's called histrionic personality disorder. She is she's attracted to these like volatile relationships. It's almost like she thrives in chaos, which makes sense given her upbringing. Her upbringing was very unstable. She was constantly, it just sounds like people were in and out of her life. Even, with Jason, they met pretty quickly, moved in together, had an abortion. They loved each other. They hated each other. They were together. They
Yeah.
weren't,
Yes.
so it's kind of like she's thriving on, it's like almost like performative, attention seeking, as you mentioned, playing the victim. She just desperately wants to be seen, I think. So it is sad because I think she certainly is a victim in some ways.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any world in which this was self-defense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see that, Megan, but I don't see any signs of that.
I don't whose knife was it?
Oh, so she had it in her car. Her dad, from the day she got her license, always had a knife, put a knife in her car that could cut through a seatbelt. So it was hers.
Okay. I don't see the evidence of self-defense here. I mean, no, the story doesn't logically make sense to me. It does seem like she was unraveling 600 texts the day before. She's
Oh my God, I
unraveling.
forgot about that.
And that's what I'm saying is delusional. She sees Alex as the barrier to this relationship with Jason, but he's not the barrier anymore, right?
Right.
But if
she's the barrier because
Yeah.
she was cheating.
She cheated. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was cheating. She's the barrier. I agree with Amy. I think this is borderline personality, histrionic. I think she has antisocial
What is
traits.
histrionic?
Do you want to explain histrionic?
It's just another personality disorder where there's a bunch of different traits that make up, it's in the DSM. It's just a clinical diagnosis. And it's usually, people you see promiscuity. Why can't I say that word?
Promiscuity.
Promiscuity. You see promiscuity, attention-seeking behavior, volatile relationships. So it's just very, a lot of the way she acted just seems to fit well. But obviously we're not clinicians, so we don't know. But yeah, it's certainly...
It's interesting.
She definitely seemed to have those though. And then, so At the end, I mean, I think the jury got it right. So she was sentenced. I just want to also briefly talk about the system. She was sentenced to life in prison with parole after 50 years. I sense that she could have been given straight out life in prison with no option for parole. So I know that Wisconsin has sentencing guidelines as well. Sentencing guidelines meaning that they take the seriousness of the crime, criminal history, determine what an appropriate sentencing range is, but then they also look at other factors because those guidelines aren't mandatory; they're advisory in Wisconsin. So judges can look at things like her character, her history or personal characteristics, her age, and then protection of the public. So they can weigh all of these factors and in determining what would be best. And I think 50 years, which is a very long time, she'll be very old. I think the judge was saying, we're saying you are probably the most serious offender, but we're giving you one small option to be possibly redeemable because I think that she was under a certain age and he didn't, he viewed that. He was viewing her youth as, I think, a mitigating factor to allow her the possibility of parole.
I think that's a really strong point. And just to add to that also, if you're giving someone life without the possibility of parole, they have no incentive to follow any institutional rules. So I think,
Yeah,
I think,
interesting.
it's a good strategy just to try to keep the prison population. If somebody thinks that they have the chance of getting out, they're going to comply much more
They
and
behave
not,
themselves.
ruffle feathers. I mean, 50 is a lot.
Uh-huh.
But
Mhm.
if she wants to get out, because she'll be what, in her 70s?
She'll
Well,
be 72.
50 years though means that she serves 85%, right?
80,
Right.
is that what they have in Wisconsin?
Well, it's truth in sentencing, so I think it's 85%, and that's the incentive also. So there's a possibility of parole in 50 years, 85% of that sentence, which is still a very long time. However, as
Oh,
Amy
yeah.
said, yeah, it's like incentivizing people.
Mhm.
Like, why not just give
That
them
is so
full life?
interesting. I never thought of that.
That's a good
actually.
point. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and she started that sentence at 22 years old.
Do we know how
she's
she's been behaving back there?
No. I mean, I
Oh.
think, well, her appeal for a new trial was denied. I do know that. So,
Okay. Well, okay. So she was so outside of her mind and panic, saying it was self-defense, whatever, ran to what's his face's house.
Dawn.
That can't even remember Dawn's house. Can't even remember her own name. Could she remember boy how to spell boy? Like your
how
own
far
names?
does that go?
Yeah, how your name's a muscle memory. Spelling boy, I'm sure is too. But if she does that come into play, or is it? I don't
I think
know.
that's
I
one
don't
of the
know.
most confusing parts about this
Yeah.
case is I can't quite understand it. It reminds me and Megan discussed this a bit. It reminds us of like Sherry Papini case where she branded herself.
Yeah.
Very obviously a very different circumstance, but for somebody, to self-harm like that, that also shows that she was dealing with she had something going on. People
Right.
don't typically hurt themselves if they're, mentally healthy. So I think her doing that, it's a very interesting layer, what she chose to write. Did she do it because she wanted, at first, obviously, it seems like she did it so she could say that Alex carved it and her until she was caught. Then she had to, change the story.
Right.
But it doesn't make any sense to me why she would do that to herself for any reason other than to support her story that he was disrespecting her by calling her masculine.
Uh-huh.
Almost makes you wonder if she should have tried for an insanity plea rather than self-defense.
Actually, that's a valid point.
Probably would have worked better.
Well,
Worked
I
out for
think her attorney saw the journal entries and was like, bingo.
I mean, she should have taken a
right.
plea, actually. I don't know if
I
she was offered
know.
one.
Right.
Maybe they didn't offer her one, but
I didn't see that they offered her one. I
again,
think
don't they almost
that's
always
interesting.
offer? Isn't it very rare for them not to offer a plea?
Very rare, but also sometimes they'll keep the plea under wraps. So we usually hear about it, but it's possible that she was offered a plea and then it was very secret, like, no one released that information and it wasn't spilled to the press. But almost always they're offered a plea. I feel, I just want to end, I know we're coming to the end here, and I will say that, like, I had a small part of me that was sympathetic because, and I'm not usually, but, I did see a girl who was very unstable, someone who's very unsure. I think she looked at Jason almost like the missing father figure. He was,
Yeah.
represented something different. So I mean, I do think that I do think that at some level she planned this crime. I don't think it was self-defense. But there
Right.
are certain factors for sure that you could say, yeah, maybe you feel a little bit badly for her. In general, that did not change my mind about her guilt and
Yeah.
her punishment. Her
No.
punishment is still
Yep.
appropriate. So,
Mhm.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, it seems like she really needed Jason's approval,
Mhm.
especially probably after he started calling her stupid, did the same things her
Yep.
dad did. I'm like, oh, that probably drew her in more.
Yeah, and this is also one of those cases that we teach about where it's almost the perfect storm. You see like biological explanations, but also environmental explanations that can explain her behavior. And then something that we didn't mention was she had those 2 accidents. Could there have been some neurological
Right.
issue from those
Yes.
accidents? We know, brain injuries definitely have a high correlation with later violent offending. So there's just a lot going on here. She had a lot
Yeah.
of strain in her life, dealing with a lot of stressors. She wasn't bonded well to the community, to
no
her
social
family.
bonds.
Yeah, she didn't have it doesn't sound like she had a stable job. I don't know if she had friends. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of criminological theories that can help us understand an offender like her.
Yeah, I was wondering about the car accident too, because the second one it said she had a head injury.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Which could
Okay,
alter your
yeah.
personality. I mean,
Yeah.
it could alter your personality significantly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think she was suffering from, as Amy pointed out, all these, which makes her like the perfect storm, kind of.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
poor Alex
Yep.
was just
Poor Alex. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
Mhm.
A senseless killing. Poor thing.
Mhm.
Is there any way to end on a high note here? Or
I
no?
know.
This
I
was
don't
fun.
think
Like,
so.
well,
This was fun. No, but I did really enjoy this.
this was this was awesome.
Well, Megan, Amy, thank you so much for being on here. Tell our listeners where they can find you, all the things.
Women in Crime podcast is on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube and the usual socials, Women in Crime podcast. Thank you, ladies, so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank
and
y'all
y'all go
so much.
follow, y'all go subscribe, review Women in Crime, everything.
And okay, I want to point out too, women and A&D crime.
Not IN, yes.
Oh,
Because when
there you go.
our accents and talking
Uh-huh.
fast, some people were like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear women in crime," and I was like, "No," because
right.
there is
And-
my sister-in-law last night went y'all's Instagram. I was like, "That's not them," and I was like, "You put in crime," so I'm
Yeah,
saying
it happens.
A&D.
Oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
Thank
There you
you.
go.
So
Thank y'all so
go
much.
Follow, review, subscribe to them. They're awesome. Y'all are the best.
Oh,
People
thank you.
are the worst.
Don't keep it. This is good.
Bye.